Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us here today and taking some time out of your day to come have lunch with us or get live on this webinar. And my name is Jason Lavender, and I'll be walking you through this webinar today. And in the next few minutes, you're going to learn about two revolutionary topics, just discussing two different trends in the benefit world. One about identity theft, and the second about legal issues that your employees are facing every day. But first, I want to ask everybody, how many of you have ever had your employees come visit with you about different life event legal issues that they're facing, mortgage issues or landlord or tenant issues, maybe divorce, or just legal questions in general. In a lot of cases, it doesn't have anything to do with their job, but they're coming to the personnel departments and they're asking you those questions, aren't they? And you're usually the go person for those employees, the go-to person to handle those legal questions, a lot of which probably some of you wish you didn't know anything about. And right now, more than half of American families have ongoing legal issues. That means half of your employees that you serve every day are dealing with some sort of life event legal situation that's going on. So, and again, also because more than 50% of all the identity theft happens on the job, the second trend that we want to share with you today is about identity theft. In a lot of cases, identity theft is due to employee errors. It may not necessarily be intent, but sometimes it's just the mishandling of the private information that they have access to. So a lot of identity theft is occurring in the workplace. So we'd like to discuss those two trends with you because anytime life event legal things are happening and identity theft is occurring, employees are having to take time off the job to handle it. And when they have to call creditors or collectors and work out issues that they have that are ongoing, when do they have time to call? Well, it's normally during those business hours. I think we can all agree with that. So that causes absenteeism. And it definitely causes reduced productivity because even if people are on the job that day, if they're worried about the personal issues, then they're not really worried about their job. And, of course, increasing health insurance costs can come from this when people are stressed out and getting sick because of those personal issues. We've all gone through different stressful situations, and a lot of times that yields to sickness, which in turn drives up health insurance costs. So studies show everywhere that employees who have legal problems are absent more often, 5 times more often, as a matter of fact, according to LSK Associates. And they're using their benefits a lot more, their health benefits. They definitely are using sick leave a lot more. And then just the lost reduction of productivity. There's even if they're there on the job physically, they may not be there mentally. And so very simply put, what we do is for identity theft, attorney, and legal fees, what your health insurance does right now for doctor and hospitals as a voluntary program, we help fit those needs, help fill those needs for your employees. And we've got to all ask ourselves, why do people go talk to, why don't they go talk to attorneys themselves? Why are they coming to personnel departments and things like this? Well, it's because people are intimidated by attorneys every day, we believe. And I think everybody in the room or on the call can agree that attorneys can be intimidating. The second reason is a lot of times people just don't know who to call, and they definitely know that even if they did call someone, that it's going to cost too much when they go to talk to lawyers. So because of that, most employees and most Americans just in general either try to ignore their problems or try to handle those situations themselves, which doesn't usually turn out in their best favor. So I'd like to start out just by doing a very brief overview of what the actual services that we have do to help the families of our members. And I'll be very quick for you here, and you guys can just get back with whoever's invited you on this webinar and this luncheon to ask some more detailed questions and refer to those brochures about any questions that you may have. But our Life Event Legal program is designed as a family program. It's designed to help families deal with those issues that we mentioned earlier. And so what we do, very simply, is we buy legal services in advance, leveraging over a 1.5 million membership base. And we pay our provider law firms each month. So when our members need covered services, they don't have to come out of pocket paying any hourly rates because it's already prepaid with their voluntary benefit. So it works like this. Anytime your employees need access to attorneys to just ask consultative questions, or they need advice, or anything like that, they can call in and visit with attorneys during normal business hours. Now, they're speaking with lawyers directly, not paralegals, not people off-site or in some other country. These are people with years of experience. In fact, all of our provider law firms are top quality. And your employees get advice from attorneys, again, not customer service reps. So in the areas that they need, they can get those questions answered. if they need letters written or phone calls made on their behalf by their counsel. As an example, let's say somebody's taking advantage of them, and they'd like to have a lawyer write a letter showing that they have counsel behind them. Well, that's part of their program with us. If they need contracts or documents reviewed, we've all probably signed things in the past that later we wish we hadn't. So they can have their lawyers review those contracts again at no additional cost because it's part of that monthly premium with us. And then lastly, what you see here on the slide, one of the things I'm super passionate about is a will and testament. Now, I have a 12-year-old little girl and a brand new newborn son. And so this is really important to me. But you know what? Having a will and testament should be important to everybody. And for those of you in the room right now or watching the screen, 70% of your employees don't currently have a will and testament. And a lot of times that's just been a financial decision. Sometimes they just don't know who to call, but many times they just don't have the funds, the income to go out and pay to have that will done because it can be pretty expensive. And so part of our life events legal plan actually provides the will and testament, powers of attorney, medical directives, and living wills at no additional cost. Again, it's part of the benefit for the employees, which is a huge value. If we were just stopping right here with our program, just with what you've already heard, I think you could agree that a lot of employees could really benefit from this program. But that's not all the things that we assist with. Motor vehicle legal services, when employees are receiving moving traffic violations or have any type of motor vehicle related criminal charges filed against them, if they're ever sued on or off the job, if they're ever audited by the IRS. We even have a 24-hour hotline 7 days a week for access to our counsel for emergency situations. And, the last thing that you see here on this slide, I always like to point out, is this is a very comprehensive program, but we are not, nor do we claim to be, a free attorney for 100% of employee issues. So we refer to the 25% member discount as kind of our offensive portion. What I mean by that is if anybody needs to do things offensively, things like filing suits, or maybe they've intentionally broken the law, things that might be like driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol, contested divorce, they are still covered with our benefits, but they're covered at a discount, not covered without a cost, like some of the things I mentioned earlier. So from the comprehensiveness that we have, you can see here that a lot of people, again, could utilize it. So we have on the call with us today somebody that I'd really like to share. Her name is Melissa Wilder. Melissa has had a lot of experience working with personnel directors across the country regarding their benefits. Melissa, are you with us?
I am, Mr. Lavender.
Great. Can you just share a little bit with everybody about how the HR professionals you've worked with have been able to utilize this as part of their voluntary benefit package?
Absolutely. I've been working in the Group Benefits Division of Prepaid Legal for over 8 years now, and the timing, excitement, and participation levels have never been better than they are today. I'd like to refer to a reference letter that was given to me by one of the risk managers of one of our larger group accounts. And in that letter, she states that her employees have legal and identity theft issues going on in their households right now, and that those issues, they do not go away from 9 to 5. Those employees bring those issues to work, which means, of course, if they're worried about their personal issues, they are not worried about their job. They're not focused on their job. And with that being said, she states that Prepaid Legal Services provides her employees, at no cost to the company, access to experienced attorneys to help those employees with those issues and problems, saving them time and money and allowing them to be more productive employees on the job. And the results are also that her employees are now taking off less time from work to handle and to resolve those types of issues. And she states that the prepaid legal benefits are used more than any of her other voluntary benefits today. So she says that having prepaid legal has proven to be a very valuable and positive benefit for her employees and also for the company.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that with everybody. I know we could get lots of stories from personnel directors and people that you work with, and so many employees that are dealing with issues every day. And I know many of you understand and have heard this, but it's just a big thing. A lot of you in the room have dealt with things like this in the past personally, and that's really where we fill a gap with a lot of benefits that are out there. The great thing about this is our program is a Now Benefit. It's something that your staff can use immediately. We're not like other voluntary programs where you've got to either be sick or in trouble before your employees can use it. This is a proactive benefit, one of the things I really do love about it. And, when we need to look at what other people are saying. When we start to talk about these different trends, these things that are going on everywhere, we want to introduce you to the concept of having access for your employees to solve these problems. And currently, right now, more than 1/5 of HR professionals are offering some kind of legal service. And that was a survey done last year by the Society for Human Resource Management. And so, 1/5 of HR directors are handling those problems. And you can see here, group legal plans appeal to a diverse workforce because they provide legal services that are relevant to an entire multi-generational workforce. So that's nice to know that it kind of fills a need regardless where anybody is at in life. And so Prepaid Legal Services Incorporated is the company that provides our legal service plans, and we've got a proven track record of nearly 4 decades. We are a publicly traded New York Stock Exchange company with almost $500,000 a year in revenue. And last year alone, we took over 2.3 million requests for legal services. And currently, we also serve over 30,000 companies across the country who offer our legal services as an employee benefit. Some of those are voluntary, some of them are paid for by the employer, all or part. But we're AAA rated, accredited business with the Better Business Bureau. And so there's lots of credibility behind that standpoint. But there's also third-party validation that you can see here. And I think for anybody that's on the call or watching this, it's important to know that you just don't have to listen to me, someone on the webinar who's obviously a little biased. If you just look here, we've had magazines across the country feature prepaid legal services. Recently, even Forbes magazine featured us as one of the 200 best companies in the United States, and that's a neat thing to know when you're getting involved with benefits, that it's somebody that's been around for a long time, that has that credibility behind it. The next trend that we want to share with you really briefly is identity theft. And I think a lot of you know identity theft is a major area today of concern. And I referenced it earlier, but more than half of all identity theft occurs in the workplace. And that's a new study by the Michigan State University. And that's the second part of our voluntary program, is the Identity Theft Shield. Now, identity theft is not just about credit cards. One thing I really want to share with you is a lot of people feel like identity theft is a financial thing, that they have to have great credit or that you have to have a lot of credit cards in order to be at risk. And that is just not really accurate at all. Identity theft is truly a legal issue. As a matter of fact, 70+% of identity theft in America isn't even related to those financial areas. Everyone here that's on this call has a Social Security number. I like to always use the analogy that if a thief breaks into your home and steals your flat-screen television and takes it to a pawn shop to get paid, in order for them to earn more money, they've got to go steal something else from somewhere else. But if a thief breaks in your home and steals your Social Security number, they can sell that Social Security number again and again and again. And that's the reason that identity theft is one of the main issues in this country. That's why it's escalated so much. Not to mention the other areas of identity theft, like driver's license fraud or medical identity theft. People can use our medical information, and it can be changed inadvertently because somebody's using your health card. So your blood type could be changed, or there's medical things that you could maybe be allergic to, get off your record. And then another area is character and criminal. People just purchasing stolen goods in your name or opening up illegal websites. There's so many things that people can do from a character and criminal standpoint. So it's not just about credit cards and bank accounts like a lot of people have been led to believe. And there's even a sixth trend that's emerging, and that's called synthetic identity theft. And this is where a lot of children fall prey to identity theft. Synthetic identity theft is where thieves actually take real elements of different individuals, and then they piece them together to actually create this third new and fraudulent identity. So you can see here the South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs just showed where child's identity theft is one of the fastest growing segments in the nation. You can just imagine if some of your employees, children, had to deal with some of this. But here there was a gentleman who's now 19 that found out when he was 17 that somebody had used his identity prior to being legal to get a loan and buy a house and a boat. So it's really a major issue. And so we do three major things for our clients in the identity theft arena. The first is that we give each one of our clients a detailed copy of their credit report with a score to make sure that everything on it is accurate and correct. So you get to start with a foundation kind of right off the bat. Just make sure everything's good. Because a lot of times people have been victims and they don't even know that they have been if they haven't looked at that credit history. So the second thing that we do is we do continuous credit monitoring. So if things change on those credit histories, again, it's important to be watching that actively and closely to spot anything that might be suspicious. And you want to catch those things sooner rather than later. And so we do those monitoring services for you. But the third thing, and the most important thing that we do, really what sets us apart from other programs, other service companies, identity theft service companies, is our restoration. We have licensed investigators with Kroll that actually go to work on our behalf to restore and fix those problems for us, get us back to pre-theft status when something happens. You're not left with a member kit in the mail that you get, something coaching you through how to do it yourself, because Kroll actually uses limited powers of attorney, sign on our behalf, which allows their investigators to go to work for you. We even help those children in all those areas that we talked about. So even if you're not a victim, if you just want some consultation about security or know how to best keep your family safe and learn to be more proactive in protecting that identity, Kroll helps us with that as well. And so Prepaid Legal has gone out, and they've partnered with a company called Kroll, Kroll Background America. Now, Kroll has been in business for 30-plus years, and we've been working with them for over a decade. They're the world's leading risk consulting firm. They've been involved in a lot of notable cases, many of which you've seen before. They assisted the Kuwaiti government with Saddam Hussein's assets after that first Gulf War, restructuring of Enron. Just, again, that credibility is just there. They just recently have been acquired for over $1 billion. So great company. And couple that with the prepaid legal benefit, with identity theft really being a legal issue, and access is needed for attorneys, and letters need to be written to creditors on their behalf, and so that way if creditors are thinking maybe you've been the culprit that's committed these crimes, you need access to that legal counsel. Those two companies partnered together for less than $1 a day. Your employees can cover their families with our life events legal plans. They can cover their kids up to the age of 18 if they live at home, college students up to 23, any of their kids at home up to 21 as long as they've never been married, and of course those physically or mentally disabled children, there is no age limit. And our Identity Theft Shield covers the employee and spouse, and with our Safeguard for Minors, the kids can be covered up to 18. So it's a very well-rounded benefit, and it's really a great proactive step that any family can take. And of course, with it being voluntary, it just makes sense. Now, I mentioned earlier, this is a Now benefit. Right now, the top 6 uses for our program, you can see here on this slide. Real estate and landlord-tenant issues. In this economy, a lot of people are struggling. And I think all of you know it better than anybody else in your company because you get to talk to those employees all the time, and you're getting to hear those issues. The things that are going on in their worlds right now, consumer finance, family law problems, collections, estate planning. Of course, identity theft is affecting a lot of people. So these are issues, they're the top 6 ways that people are utilizing our services today. Last year alone, we had over 2.3 million calls come into our firms across the country just to get access to handle questions like these. And that's really what this program provides. It's a peace of mind in a time where people really need it now more than ever before. And if you just look here at just what some of the other folks are saying, and I'm not going to read all these to you. I know you guys can read. We could give you tons of slides and referral letters. We even have a whole book of quotes from our members talking about how they utilized our services, HR directors, personnel, CEOs, about how this has benefited their company. The point is that we help take those employee issues to someone else, help get them off your plate so you're not having to be that resource. You're not having to listen or have that responsibility in knowing those personal issues that are out there. And it's a very simple administration program. And I've also asked Mr. Thomas Owens to be on the call with us today, because Thomas works with lots of insurance professionals and CEOs and people across the country who work with personnel departments on our benefits. And so from a facilitation and administration standpoint, he's a great resource for us. So Thomas, are you with us?
Yes, I am. And the things that you just mentioned, Jason, are actually things that not only business owners and HR people, but also insurance agents and brokers across the country comment on a regular basis. Starting with, there's no claim forms. So when your employees need access to their attorneys, they simply take out their membership card and call in. They don't have to wait, and the Human Resource Department doesn't have to help them file any claim forms. They get immediate access. It's also a portable benefit. So that means if one of your employees leaves for any reason, they can take the benefit with them at the same rate. As a payroll deducted benefit, we have one rate for the family for each of our plans. And we also provide on-site enrollment. We will have one of our representatives come out and bring the materials and explain the benefits to your employees so they understand how to use the services and can get the most value out of their memberships. And one of the other things that is commonly mentioned by insurance agents and brokers and HR professionals is that they appreciate the fact that the employees cannot use our service against them in any form or fashion. They can use our services for absolutely any other legal issue except against the company. And then, of course, there's a large utilization of our service. Employees will participate at record numbers compared to many other benefits that may be offered. And it's because they have issues going on currently, and they can see themselves using the service in the future. And they think about the ways they could and should have used it in the past. So those are some of the reasons why insurance agents, brokers, small business owners, and HR people really do take to our benefit. Mr. Lavender?
And I think that's good for everybody to hear, Thomas. Thank you very much, because, you know, as HR professionals, probably, again, more than anybody, at least it's been my experience, you know, in the office, you're usually wearing multiple hats. You've got so many different things going on, and just to have one other thing on your plate is not exactly, you know, what everyone is looking for. So I really appreciate everybody hearing what we have to say and being on the call. And the next steps with everybody here, the person that invited you to this luncheon, the person who's invited you to this webinar is going to be contacting you after this, and you're going to be given a short survey. It's just a little 4-question survey that you can get done in just a few seconds, letting us know what your thoughts were about the information that you heard and about the different trends that we discussed today. And if you can, just get that back and let us know that you'd like to be contacted, and we can follow up with you. We won't be bothering anybody. We just want to know what those questions are and what your comments are about the information that you heard today. And let's get that appointment scheduled. And assuming that we get all these things answered for you, we'd like to move to setting up a date with your employees and see that 60 to 70% participation by those employees with our services. And so thank you so much for coming today. Those of you that are at our luncheons right now, please just enjoy your lunch. Ask those questions. Please feel free to ask the host. That's what we're here for, is to answer those questions for you. And those of you that are live on the webinar right now, please just get back with whoever's invited you. And we're standing by right now to answer those questions all across the country. So thank you so much for having us today. Have a great day.